guys and girls. So just a few quick fence tips, gate tips that you guys and girls would probably like to know, and it's probably going to set your fence out from just anybody else's, just a normal fence. So you can see I've started the bottom. So what we're doing is we're actually doing a lap board on these ones. So what I've done is I've gone and I've made all my measurements and put these screws in here so that the next board, excuse the filming here, but now you've got a nice stop where you can actually fasten this in. So then what you do is you back that screw out and you just carry on moving up and up and up and up and up and up. Now, one tip, you can see there's a little dimple there, and then corresponding dimple on the bottom of the board. What that is this. It's just a simple jig that you line up with the bottom and you line up with the top. See how it's got that nice stop on it? You could also put a stop on the top here so everything stays nice and square. And then what you do, and I wish I had more hands, but what you do is you take a scratch awl, which is just basically a pointed screwdriver, and you point and you go right through that hole that's on this. That way everything is guided, everything's repeatable, and when we're all done, you're gonna see those screws just run perfectly straight up. So that's the first tip. Next tip is pocket holes. So you can see all these, this is what's called a pocket hole, and if you're not sure how to do it, there's all kinds of videos out there. I might actually do a video on how to do one. It looks a little gnarly on this side, but when you move to the other side, nothing. And the screw holes that you do have, so see that one that I've placed up in the corner here, the company that makes these is called Craig. They actually make little filler pieces that actually slide right up in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some end cut and we're going to seal these, and it's going to look almost identical to this. We only need to do it on the place where I've toe screwed, where you're going to see it, and you'll never know that there was screws put in there. And we're going to do kind of the same thing for these. What we're going to do is we're going to make a separate video, and we're going to show you how to make some plugs for this, and you'll hardly know that this thing was there. So that's my second tip, is using pocket hole screws. So this is the actual kit. There's varying kits. They start from about 20 bucks on to a couple hundred. This is all you really need. It basically does the job. Craig does make coated screws. These are made for the outside. These are made for 1.5 inch material. So that's the right size for our application, and again, they're going to be covered up. You could probably put unprotected screws in there. The problem would be is that they could rust over time, and also the pressure treating can work its way at it. So that's kind of the second tip. The third tip is screws. So you can see here we have like a dark brown screw, and we have kind of like a lighter tan screw. So get out of this direct sun, you can see the dark brown, it's close, but it's not quite. Then you have obviously the tan screws, and they're pretty light. But we'll just make our way down to an existing fence. This fence here is about 3 years old, or coming up on 3 years old. So put the dark brown in there, that stands out. Put the tan color in there, that's about as close as you're gonna get. So that's the third tip, is go with the tan colored screws. They can be harder to find, I will say that. You might need to go to an actual lumber yard, not the Big Blue or the big orange store. So that's the third tip, is screw colors. Of course I missed the bucket. Fourth tip, which should actually be the first tip now that we're looking at it, is a good radio. I've had this radio for 20 years. Never let me down. Worked with it in the rain, snow, everything. Never an issue. Good tunes are good for good psyche and making you feel happy. So that's probably the fourth tip. Is that what we're up to? 4? Fifth tip is your boards. So first of all, you want to get good boards. If you get something like this, you want to use it down towards the bottom where you're not going to see it. It's an easy thing to avoid. Go to a store where you can actually pick out your boards. A little chipmunk rooting around the garage, a little bugger. Yeah, go to a store where you can pick them out, and that way you can basically pick your boards and root through the bad ones, because you will get just whatever's in the lot if you order it from a lumber yard and have it delivered. So the next tip, the fifth tip, is take a piece of sandpaper. You're going to scuff all these areas, because I don't care how good your blade is, how good your saw is, how many teeth are on it, how new it is, how old it is, whatever, it's going to rip out. So the reason why is that it's pressure treated, and they're still pretty green, and you're gonna just have some tear out. It's the nature of the beast. So you can see here, this will be the face of it here, and what I do is wherever my face board is, that's where I cut, because that'll be a clean cut. You'll get your tear out on the back side, and this is actually the bottom, so it's the least noticed area of my fence. And then after that, you follow it up with end cut. You don't have to be too precise with it, just as long as you're getting that open grain protected, and you're good to go. So I think that's tip number 5 that we're up to. And really the 6th one is take your time, enjoy it. Yeah, it's going to take some time. If I paid a contractor to do this, Christ, they would have been done hours ago, or days ago for that fact. But take your time, enjoy it, and put some thought and effort into it, and it's just going to look that much better. So until the next video, guys and girls, take her easy. If you like the video, thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, thumbs down. Tell me why down in the description, or sorry, the comments. Constructive criticism always welcome. And think about hit subscribe down there. We're adding content like this all the time. It could be fence building tips, it could be car maintenance, property maintenance, house maintenance. It's going to be stuff like that, and hopefully it's little tips and tricks that's going to help you out, and in this case I think it's going to make your end product look that much better. So until the next video, guys and girls, take it easy. So I just did a video on tips and tricks on building a fence, and there's 2 other tips now that I've been working that I wish I would have added. The first one is 6x6 posts. These are 6x6 12s. They're 4 feet in, 8 feet out. They're more expensive, obviously, but they have the girth on it that they're not going to rot out nearly as easily. I am a building inspector. I see fence replacements all the time. First thing that rots out, 4x4 posts. And if you can go up to 6x6, especially for a little project like this, it's not that much of an expense. That fence is going to last you that much longer. So that is tip number, I think that would have been tip number 6 with the other one. Tip number 7, which I really glazed over, is these are deck boards. These are not fence boards. So they're that much thicker. They're 1.25 inches. They call it 5/4. It's not quite 1.25 inches when you get it, but it's very, very thick. Obviously this is new, so everything is nice and straight, no gaps. But when I redid this fence about 3 years ago, I just used straight fence boards, and I mean, they're not bad, but when this fence was put together, these boards were tight, and as you can see, they are not anymore. You've got them warping, you've got them deflecting. You can almost get my hands through this way. Yeah, it just, you can see that one's all split and cracked. It didn't go in that way, I can tell you that. So switch to deck boards, especially if you have a small project like this one. It is going to pay back and pay back and pay back. So